Hello everyone, welcome to the Ahdurin region. I'm your host, Ahdurin himself. Now today is October 25th, 2019, and at about 3 p.m. Mr. Beast uploaded a video about planting 20 million trees before the beginning of 2020. Just 7 hours and 45 minutes later, which is when I'm recording this, they've already reached 1,817,768 trees, and it's growing rapidly. Now, I'm not a big content creator, especially not now, but I wanted to help in any way that I could. That's where this video idea came from, hopefully gaining a little bit of traction and increasing the number of donations. Now, you can go in the description to teamtrees.org to donate. Each dollar that you give is one more tree and one step closer to that goal. So this video is about trees in Pokemon, and I know I'm missing a bunch of them, as you can tell. If you guys know of any trees in the games, this is both main series and otherwise, leave them in the comments and I'll definitely rank them. With that said, let's go. We're gonna go in order, I guess. Going in order from, and this is all personal, my opinion, and this video is basically just an excuse to try to publicize this idea. Again, go down in the description to go to the link and donate if you can. Hopefully the images are pretty solid. I tried to take them and edit them so that they would look okay. I know some of the backgrounds aren't really great. So with that said, let's get started. So we can start with Mega Obama Snow over here. Now, as a tree, now I'm ranking all of these based on how they are as a tree. And unfortunately, I don't think Mega Obama Snow is a particularly great tree. Now, it's solid. I assume it is able to take in oxygen and give out, take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. However, as a tree compared to these options, it's probably a D tier. Snover is probably a C tier only because it's cuter, and Obama Snow is probably in the same D tier category. And all of this, again, is completely pointless and not really actually real opinions. I mean, I guess they are, but you know how it goes. Anyway, so let's jump over to, let's do all the Pokemon first. So right here, we have a Lowland Executor, and this, of course, is an S tier tree. I think that's fairly obvious based on the Alolan nature. As you know, a Lowland Executor is able to get much more sunlight compared to that of the normal Executor, and as a result is able to grow and be an Ultra Tree. Yeah, so it is S tier. Now, Bonsly is a D tier tree because it ain't even a tree, and that's the same goes to Sudowoodo. Both of you guys are D tier. In fact, I'm going to move Snover up to B. I'm going to move these guys up to C, just because those guys are garbage tier trees. You guys aren't trees, you are rocks. I know you guys want to fake being a tree, but you guys ain't tree. Bonsly, don't cry on me. Anyway, so we can go over here. Next one up is Phantom. Now, I think you are also... I'm going to put you at B tier. Again, you're cute. Even if you're not particularly a great tree, you're nowhere near the level of Alolan Executor, but you are a solid tree nevertheless. And I'm going to go the same for you. You, buddy, you are also going to be a B tier tree. Now let's get into the actual trees. And so these are, unfortunately, not in the right order, but I will hopefully figure something out. So, let's see here. We can start off with the Gen 1 tree. Now, this tree here is very subpar. It is easily breakable. This tree right here, the Gen 1 cut tree. And so as a result, you, my friend, while you are not a Bonsly or a Sudowoodo, you are still not a great tree, and so you are a C tier tree. In fact, just because I despise the Movecut, okay, well, I don't despise it, but I am not a particularly great fan of it, especially since you have to use it just to get into a gym. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Surge. All of you guys, in fact, are C tier trees. You are solid trees in that you do the tree job, which Sudowoodo and Bonsly cannot do. However, you are not particularly great trees, and so I will toss you guys there. However, Broccoli Tree over here, I'm going to move you up to the front just because I find you interesting and curious. You are also a cut tree. Move. Cool. So that leaves these trees. Now, I have here the Honey Tree that you guys may know from Generation 4's Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and this tree I find interesting because its job is not to be a tree, its job is to be a honey collector so that you can try to find that rare Munchlax that never shows up even when you want it to because you're too... I apologize for that, I kind of freaked out a little bit. So the Honey Tree is going to be a D tier tree because I feel that it is not doing its job as a tree. Why won't you give me Munchlax? And so as a result, I'm going to give it a D tier. Yeah, so stay calm. Everything is cool. So let's move on to the berry trees. I like these trees in the Generation 7 games. I really enjoy these trees. I found them very intriguing. The fact that the trees do the tree job, but it also helps out the average individual, such as you as a trainer who are looking for berries. And, you know, the occasional brawler wants to come in. It's perfectly fine with me. I know it comes in a bit more often than I would personally like, especially after I caught my first one. But hey, you know, it's a solid tree. Here, we'll go over here. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but that's just because I adore trees so much. I find them very useful in life, as should you. We'll move on to the Generation 1 tree here. This right here is the standard bearer for all trees. In fact, it is probably the best B-tier tree. This is a tree that stands firm, stands tall. This is what brought out the idea of trees in the Pokemon world. This is the basis. When you're looking for that baseline of what a Pokemon tree is, you cannot go any farther than a Kanto tree. Moving along, we have here a poorly drawn out. This is actually two different Johto trees, but a Johto tree nevertheless. And these, I believe, took the Kanto tree and exemplified its good features while eliminating any potentially bad features. So this, I believe, is an A-tier tree right there. Now, this right here, the second tree, I think we're pretty much going to go in order from here on out. This tree right here is a headbutt tree, and that tree is very interesting because if you headbutt it, hypothetically, a Pokemon would fall out. And sometimes these are pretty good Pokemon, sometimes not so great. You know, you get your bugs and your solid Pokemon all in between. I found this tree very intriguing because it was a tree that wasn't necessarily for the goal of being a tree, and yet at the same time it was. It wasn't necessarily a tree for oxygen purposes. It was a tree for shelter purposes, and I feel like it exemplifies that job very well. So this was also an A-tier tree. Now, we move on to the Hoenn Tree, and the Hoenn Tree, I think, is very festive. It brings out the sort of emotion that you feel when you see this tree. You think trumpets, you think ruby, sapphire, emerald, you think of water and too much of it. And so as a result, this is also, I believe, an A-tier tree. We move on next to the fire red and leaf green tree. Now this tree goes back to its roots of the Kanto tree, but adds in Generation 3 qualities such as multiple layers, which you don't necessarily see in the Kanto, the Johto, or the Johto headbutt tree. It takes a tree from the past and brings it into the present with its sort of multi-layered, adding the trunk, which is brand new at this point. So as a result, this tree, I believe, is also a A-tier tree. However, now we move in to the Generation 4 Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum tree. And this takes the idea of layering from Generation 3 and combines it with the pure aesthetic of a dark green, powerful tree trunk. And so as a result, I believe that this tree is possibly the best tree of the level A oxygen levels. So I'm going to move that in front. This is a very controversial opinion, but I believe that this is something that I stand by very firmly. There is very, very little chance that you will be able to convince me that this is not the best A-tier oxygen level tree. We move on next to the headbutt tree or the Johto tree. At this point, they actually, I believe, merge due to scientists trying to find the most powerful headbutting tree. And so as a result, they have found that by doing a lot of mutations and working scientifically, they found not only a powerful tree, as you can see in oxygen level A, the second option, but they also infused the idea of the headbutt that the third option in oxygen level A has. As a result, I believe that this tree is a good tree and is better than those, but it is not, of course, it pales in comparison to the Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum tree. Now, Unova's tree is very intriguing, and this is a tree that I believe is the best main tree. It's like how, if I think about it, it's like how Zigzagoon is the best normal type beginnings Pokemon. Now, I know there are a couple of Joey fans out there that say Rattata is very good. There are a couple of people that are all for like Sentret, but in my opinion, And of course, before I obviously don't want to insult Lord Bidoof and everybody that's in that camp, or Bidoof. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I pronounce it probably incorrectly. But of course, like Zigzagoon is the best normal type beginning guy, this tree right here is the best one of all, and is one of the few trees that will grant level S status. Then we move on to Calais, and Calais, I give it a lot of credit for a lot of things. It is very, very good in how I personally like the fairy type. I think introducing that was very good, balancing, and it introduced a lot of cool Pokemon. However, trees is something that they were not able to accomplish. They have some solid trees. There is one route full of trees that I think is very interesting, but overall, this tree is possibly the worst main series tree. Now, I don't mean to offend anybody when I say that, but that is what my statistical analysis has to conclude. Now, the final tree that we're going to go over here, and it's not a very good image, but it's there nevertheless, is the Lowland trees. And now, what I find interesting about them is that the Lowland trees are actually kind of similar to how the Calais trees were. They're different. They don't have the same sort of mechanic that previous trees have. If you know, if you are a veteran like myself in treeology, earlier generations of Pokemon found the same trees everywhere. They were all Cantonian, or they were all Hoennian. Or Hoennese. I'm not exactly sure how a person from Hoenn would be pronounced, but you understand. However, in the Alola region, like in Calais, they found different types of trees growing throughout nature. And for instance, if you look on the top right-hand corner of the image, they have a very large tree compared to that on the left-hand side of the image, where they have much more sturdier but smaller tree. Now, due to this type of combination and the fact that people are experimenting with different types of trees, and I found this very intriguing. This is also an A tier tree. However, I do not think it is better than the Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum quality, because that is the best A tier tree. However, I will put it probably in second place. This is a very toss-up right here between the second and third option. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation on trees. This was a complete joke of a video. None of this is particularly real, with the exception of Bonsai and Sudowoodo not being trees and the Honey Tree being annoying. With that said, again, go in the description below if you would like to donate. It should be at the very top of the description. Hopefully we can reach the 20 million trees before the end of the year. It's already growing really, really fast, and I feel like we could reach this, especially if you go down and help out and donate. Remember, each dollar that you donate is another tree and another step towards reaching that goal of 20 million trees before January 1st, 2020. With that said, thank you very much for watching the video and for supporting the Ahdurin region in any way, shape, or form that you do. I hope you found it at least a little bit entertaining. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care. Okay, nobody's here, right? Nobody watches this part. Yeah. Oh wait, you guys are still here?